battle-hardened San Diego has come down to these 8 battle-hardened competitors. Let's take a look quickly at our bracket here. We saw this on the other stream. Welcome everyone to the top 8 stream. We have, of course, Nicholas on Prism facing off against Justin on Azalea, the Zenmir, Brody and Naib, the 2 World Travelers, Majin and Tyler. That will be our feature match. It's not Zen Tamer of Purpose, it is Enigma, actually. So Majin versus Tyler on Enigma, and then Anthony Pham Riptide versus Eugene Galopchik on Kano. Rest in peace to Anthony in that matchup. You have to imagine that's going to be a tough one for him, but maybe he will take the miracle and pull it out.
What are you talking about, Sam? I'm worried about Eugene in that matchup.
Yeah, what am I talking about?
Anthony Pham is a fearsome competitor, and if there's anybody that can take down that match, it's definitely him.
Let's go ahead and dive, I think, pretty immediately down into our game here. It's going to be Tyler Horspool on Enigma. We just, for whatever reason, he's such a villain that he has hacked into our computer network. He is making it impossible for us to mention the correct hero. Versus Majin Bay on Kano, Dracai of Aether. So the pictures are correct. The hero names are not perfectly correct, but those pictures are accurate. You can count on Kano versus Enigma here. This is going to be a fascinating back and forth matchup. Some used to be like, oh, how could Kano ever win into Enigma when the cards were first spoiled? And then like, oh, Waning Moon actually makes this much more interesting, much more challenging for Enigma to just run away with this game. Reality Refractor might change that math. When you look at this matchup, Bryce, what are your thoughts?
It's really interesting. We've seen a couple examples of this in our AG streams over the past couple months. Last month, famously, Zachary Wallach took out Eugene Galopchik, who is also in the top 8, on Enigma. He was, however, playing that Cosmo scroll list. He just resolved a really early Manifestations of Miragai, and Eugene just could not deal with that board at a certain point. And 40 points of value later for Zach, and Eugene was out of gas, unfortunately. We're hoping that this is a bit more of an example of the grindy play style that can happen between these 2 heroes, but time will tell. Majin Bay, however, starting off all right, pitching off his Eye of Ophidia, turn 0.
Yeah, getting a little bit of optionality, seeing if you want to get some damage down across the table to start things off.
I'll hit you for 10. What the hell, man?
And this is the time to be doing some Kano shenanigans because Enigma does not have that ward board set up that can really mitigate some of his damage. So looks like we go ahead and find a sap on the top of Kano. Gonna play it out. Looks like Tyler Horspool has no issue covering that up with some AB.
Sporting AB3 is Tyler. We have the Crown of Reflection, the Null Rune Gloves, and the Silent Stilettos to couple alongside the Tunic and the Reality Reflector. Standard equipment loadout from Majin, though, of course, the Waning Moon that does go ahead and complicate certain things.
Let's take a look at that Reality Refractor again, please, Christine. For the folks at home who haven't seen this card, this is a really interesting way to play Enigma. We saw it showcased in that last round 7 matchup, but Tyler Horspool is championing this new kind of fangled style of Enigma. Majin, however, finding a Tome of Fiendal on the top, continuing to draw cards on his turn 0 play in the top 8 of battle-hardened San Diego.
Pitching away a Tome to play the Tome.
As Kanos are wont to do.
Yeah, pitching that Tome to Kano, excuse me. That is going to now allow him to look at that card off the top.
Finding another Tome.
I'm not going to do anything, but I'm going to cycle all these.
Much is saying, I'm not going to do anything with these cards, but at least I am trying them. Putting a Blazing and a Aether Wildfire to the bottom, theoretically next to each other alongside the Eye of Ophidia here. Finding a Wounded Bull, that is a very powerful card that you can attack into the Enigma player as well as the Energy Potion.
And that was a Blazing Aether on top, if I'm not mistaken. Majin decides to just leave that on top, doesn't want to banish it this early.
And looks like you used the action point already with that Gaze the Ages earlier after playing the Zap.
Kiwi Stalker, we've got our eyes on it. We're double checking the text underneath Tyler Horspool's name.
Tyler Horspool.
Obviously, he is not on Kasai of the Golden Sands. We've got Enigma, Ledger of Ancestry. And Tyler busting out that Spectral Manifestations, a card that makes massive waves in the limited format of Part the Misfail, but is typically not used here in CC. Tyler Horspool says, nah, I want to use that. I want to use it with Reality Refractor because instead of this Spectral Shield coming in for only 4 with those 3+1 counters. Instead, it's coming in for a big bad 8, Sam.
That's crazy. Yeah, no go again, but does have just the power to go ahead and swing on in. And the Spectral Shield attack, of course, still gets the reduction, question mark? Still gets the cost reduction thanks to Enigma.
Yes, it does.
Wow, very cool.
Yes, it does. So, pitch a blue, swing for 8 with something that sticks around on the board.
Yeah, pretty good. Now, I talked to Majin. He said the matchup is definitely tricky. I asked a little bit of the game plan, and he said to me, I know Tyler is going to want to play those and have the game plan be a lot around the Spectral Manifestations, the card we've just seen resolved. He's like, I can't let those stick around. That's basically a large part of the game plan, so you have to imagine he's going to be have eyes as big as dinner plates looking at the Spectral Shield with those big counters.
Yes, and Tyler's strategy basically boils down to establish one of these nasty, big Spectral Shields and then protect the President. At every turn, just use every other card in his hand to take the bullet from whatever Majin is trying to use to remove Tyler's board. And this is quite a card to do it.
Yeah, this is 8 damage coming across the Wounded Bull, threatening not only 8 damage into Enigma's life total here, but of course threatening to clear that Spectral Shield, as even though it attacked for 8, it still only wards for 1.
And interestingly enough, Majin continues to pack these Wounded Bulls, not just for the Kano Mirror, but also for this Enigma matchup, which is interesting because it could be on top of his deck at a really bad time, Sam. Especially when he's trying to do instant speed shenanigans to remove some of these Spectral Shields while they're still on the combat chain. I can't imagine he would be happy to see a Wounded Bull on the top of his deck.
Currently setting up a block for 6. React from the bottom. It's going to be a Moon Chakra and then an immediate Transcend as well with the Preserved Tradition, getting to put that Spectral Manifestations right back on the bottom of the deck. So the card that Majin identified is incredibly important to Tyler's game plan, and clearly Tyler has identified as well. We're going to potentially get to see that card resolved at the very least 4 times if we can get there. And the Moon Chakra, of course, going to cover up all that damage, as that Transcension will allow it to block even more than it should normally.
Yeah, Moon Chakra is such a powerful card in the blue, especially when you are jiving it with one of those pesky Transcend cards. And so here we go. Another Spectral Shield for 8.
Really cool way to play this deck. 8 damage coming across. Got a CNC headed to the arsenal there, so that won't have as much blocking power as the Moon Chakra did. But here's 8 more damage that Majin has to think about.
Majin having a laugh as Tyler Horspool enacts his game plan, sends over another 8, and Majin says, again? Are you planning to do this all game, Tyler Horspool?
2 floating. There's a Zap. Or Sap. There's a Sap, so that would also threaten this attack as well. And of course, if a Spectral Shield is destroyed thanks to the ward before the resolution step, the Go Again does not have a chance to resolve, and the turn would be over, even though there's actually no Go Again on the Spectral Shield anyway, because of the Reality Reflect.
But that 8 damage doesn't get a chance to resolve.
Absolutely.
That's the bigger part of it.
I'll prevent 1 and then take.
That Waning Moon now will go ahead and take care of the Spectral Shield here, as with the CNC in the pitch, that's all Tyler is going to be able to do, is just block one of the damage with the AB, and that will take care of the Spectral Shield.
And so here we go. Majin showcasing his game plan into Tyler Horspool's Protect the President. Majin Bey says, take down the President. And down goes the Spectral Shield and the offensive potential of Tyler Horspool's board. Majin just establishing a combo piece, Arsenal pass. Do you think Majin wants this game to go longer, Sam?
Yeah, I think there is a potential that if the game goes too long, Tyler will have too many ward pieces that could interrupt the combo turn, but if he's able to stack something pretty gnarly onto the bottom of his deck, he could probably go over the top of any and all amounts of ward. The question is, will there be enough power and pressure from Tyler that makes the kind of quote-unquote pitch stack even more challenging. This here, CNC getting blocked for 6, coming in with the manifestations of Maragai after the fact. No cheap pitch, so just going to have the 2+1/+1 counters, but that card still does a lot of work even at half the amount of counters.
And Tyler, even though he's got a bit of a clunky hand in terms of action points, he's still able to capitalize on the instant speed shenanigans that Illusionist has access to. So he uses 1 action point with 4 cards and still is able to establish a nasty board and an arsenal for later.
Now for here, this is 3 damage represented from the Aether Flare, but then 2 more coming in after the fact, you have to imagine, with that Waning Moon. So Tyler's going to have to pitch 2 cards to save the manifestations to be able to swing for 4 on the next turn.
Which, as long as this is the only thing that's coming his way, which, based on the context of Majin Bey's lack of a hand, I suppose, that's probably something Tyler is very happy to do. Just donate 2 cards to the cause and then use 2 on his turn to send some offense Majin's way. He does, however, have another one of those, I believe red, can't see it, one of those red spectral manifestations in hand. So this is an opportunity where he could just say, I'm going to let the manifestations of Miragai do its thing, cover up some damage, and then I'll reestablish a board in the easiest way possible. It was a yellow, however.
Manifestations, wow.
So maybe identified as not the most ideal play.
Interesting there from Tyler. Yellow, another thing that the yellow can do is it can pitch into the reality refractor because it just costs 2 there, so maybe yellow cards having a little bit of more purpose and power in the list as well. The Tenant of Chi is going to go ahead and get the block as well, and you can see Tyler actually putting that yellow one in front of the Tenant of Chi as well, so he wants that a little earlier in the pitch stack. This round's on me, another blue card headed into the pitch with some floating and another card in hand that can protect this 7 power manifestations. Last turn I was like, yeah, it'll attack for 4, but I keep forgetting about Reality Reflector. This just puts in so much work. We're not doing wide chains. We're doing one big turn. Bravo is here to stay, folks. He's just, you know, named Enigma now.
And he's throwing a bunch of fake things at his opponent rather than hammers. If only Kano can just wake up and realize that the manifestations of Miragai doesn't actually exist.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying, Sam?
Yeah, Kano, what's wrong with you, dude? You sound crazy right now, Kano.
Wake up, man.
Kano, it's not even there, dude. Just gaslight Kano. Kano, there's nothing there, dude. You sound crazy right now.
Man, imagine if he can put a Wounded Bull in front of it, then it really won't exist.
Well, does that Phantasm, doesn't it?
No, you're right about that.
We're seeing some Kanos off the top
Kind
here.
of a power play.
Let's take a look. We've got Aether Quickening off the top as well as an Aether Dart. So let's see if Tyler would be able to cover all of that up. A blue in hand would really help because that Aether Quickening is going to be coming in for 4. But then from there, of course, the Waning Moon or the Zap might take care of the manifestations.
So here we go. Aether Quickening for 4. Comes in at a break point. It's going to force 1 arcane damage through unless Tyler has a prevention effect. We know from the context of his shoulder that he does not. I'm pretty sure we saw that card and it was a Chi card. Yep, that is a path well traveled.
No, we don't want to do that. Maybe 3.
Tyler says, J.K. Rafflemal, we don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, only have AB3. So prevent 1, and then allow the 2 ward to take care of 2 of the rest of the damage.
But also eliminate Tyler Horspool's damage potential for the turn.
Priority back on you. Whenever you do something, So like it blows up and then, is it your priority? It's my priority. Okay, so your priority. I'll pass priority.
Figuring out who has priority, but Tyler had priority, passing the priority with no action point. 1 damage from the blue Aether Dart.
I'm gonna do something after this.
And then we'll just go ahead and reestablish that board.
Tunic with a red, Waning Moon, take care of these second manifestations. So if you look there, Majin just trying to clear the first one. Tyler kind of waiting for the Aether Dart to resolve and come across, maybe trying to sniff out that there was no potential for the Waning Moon on the turn, but however, the Tunic along with the red did allow for Majin to go ahead and clear that second manifestation. So Tyler, 2 of those big power cards now in the graveyard. Back to his turn, but going to have to see what he can do from here.
You have to believe that Majin is setting up a stack with which to take care of Tyler Horspool's life total towards the end. We've seen him pitch some of those power cards. We've definitely seen a Tome of Aetherwind, and you know that's on his radar for second cycle. If Majin can find the instant speed shenanigans to take care of Tyler's board long enough, there's just always inevitability on the side of Kano.
None floating.
No floating, attacking for 8 here. A little classic 2-card 8. Everybody's favorite numbers in Flesh and Blood.
Another bread and butter play from this Reality Refractor list. And this is the play that made Tyler brew this list, right? So Enigma makes your first Spectral Shield cost 1 less, which in Reality Refractor's case makes it cost 1. Spectral Manifestations cost 2, so on an empty board, establish a Spectral Shield, give it 3 counters, and swing for 8 off of 1 blue.
And what's nice about this deck, right, is it's not always easy to use the rest of your cards. In Tyler's case, he's happy to keep 2 cards in his hand because he now has cards that he can utilize to use for Arcane Barrier, right? So even though on certain turns he might be IPing himself 1 against other heroes, here against Majin Bey, he has some insurance to try to make sure some of his damage comes across. Majin Bey, 2 cards off the top here, 1 Potion of Deja Vu, 1 Cindering Foresight. Going to go ahead and opt 3.
And then, unfortunately, Centering Foresight is going to buff that next arcane damage, probably putting it at a breakpoint that Tyler Horspool simply can't block because of the amount of AB3 amount of AB that he has presented.
Yeah, see if Tyler has something like a Waxing Spectre or a Waning Vengeance to try to cover up some of this damage. Players having a bit of a laugh.
Which that's the other cool part about this list that Tyler is sporting. He's got some of those instant speed auras that didn't really end up making the top tier Enigma list in CC, more of limited cards. It's kind of like he's just using Reality Refractor to take everything we loved about Enigma from limited and port it over to CC. Because, yeah, boy, would a Waning Vengeance be the perfect thing to cover up whatever it is Majin is trying to do to him.
Energy Potion in the pitch. That's going to be a big red Aether Spindle coming across with the Cindering Foresight buff. A lot of damage here threatening the Spectral Shield.
Going to be 5. Yep, down goes the Spectral Shield. Tyler's going to take 1. AB3 plus the Spectral Shield blocks 4. Aether Spindle hits for 5 total. Majin going to get a little bit of free information off that. Not as much as he typically gets on any given Aether Spindle, but whatever information he can get is all good with him.
Pass back does Majin Bay. Tyler Horspool just going to draw back up, Tunic to 3.
It's really interesting to see a Kano playing this way, almost like you would imagine a Guardian to be playing, right? In most cases of Flesh and Blood, Kano is the one asking the question. And the question is, can you stop me from enacting my game plan, either by killing me or disrupting me so much with Arsenal Disruption, that kind of thing. In this case, it's Tyler Horspool saying, can you stop this basically 8 damage ward attack every single turn? And Majin is the one who has to answer.
Yeah, Majin also, while trying to answer these, he's using a lot of threats out of his deck, using red spells because they have the breakpoints. The question is, what is he going to be able to keep around, right, to utilize on his big combo turn if that is how he wants to win this game? If he utilizes too many of his threats to just deal with Tyler's board, he doesn't have a weapon, just like Tyler doesn't have a weapon. So it's going to be hard for him to actually close the game out. The Enlightened Strike there, a little bit of go again. Tickled Majin for 2, 28 to 26, 15 minutes elapsed in this game. The Restless Coalescence, the follow-up here for Tyler, but with the Reality Refractor going to come across for a big chunk of damage as well.
Mm-hmm. Right you are, Sam. An E-Strike showcasing its versatility in declunking some of these clunky hands that Tyler Horspool has just inherently because of the nature of the deck, especially when he is constantly in the driver's seat because Majin is using all of his resources to remove threats constantly. Majin really in the think tank here. It makes me wonder what the context of his hand is. I'm sorry, Sam. Did I say hand?
Yes,
I meant shoulder
you
again.
meant kind of, because, you know, your hand is important in Flesh and Blood, but your shoulder is almost equally as important.
Yeah, 100%.
You know? 5 damage coming across thanks to the Reality Refractor here. Reflector? Refractor?
Refractor, my good man.
Refractor.
Mm-hmm. Restless Coalescence, such an amazing card in this deck because of those spectral manifestations. You can almost always get value off of it. But, of course, not if the crackling Kano Dracai of Aether is constantly shooting down your auras every single turn.
And interestingly here, Majin still has a card in hand and in the arsenal after coming across with this Wounded Bull. Didn't want to use it on blocks, or maybe couldn't use it on blocks, but now Wounded Bull coming across, threatening that ward too. Tyler had the D-React the last time the big Icelander staple hit the combat chain, so let's see. I do think for Tyler on that last turn, because the Restless Coalescent wasn't blocked, fairly good turn for him, right? Got 10 damage across. But for Majin here, the 6 damage finally getting across Tyler's life total as the Ward 2 is the only defensive utilization for Tyler on the turn. Both players here getting a lick in, and it must be feeling good for both of them. We're going to see, looks like, another special manifestations. This is the yellow one, so clearly it's a big part of the deck.
Absolutely. I believe Tyler runs a rainbow set of those just because it's the core game plan of the deck. And so it's good enough to run the kind of middling yellow versions just because the whole game plan is centered around that card. And 7 is the ask from Tyler Horspool. The more I see Majin resolve these Wounded Bulls, the more I like them, Sam.
Oh, yeah.
Because honestly, if he is indeed going for this pitch stacking game plan, if he resolves every single one of his Wounded Bulls, Tyler is probably going to be pretty low on life for when he combos off, making it easier. And also, he's not going to have any issues seeing them in his stack because they will have all been played first cycle.
Mm-hmm. 7 damage here on the combat chain, courtesy of Tyler Horspool piloting this Enigma list.
That's Tyler Wicked Horspool
Tyler
this time.
Wicked Horspool. Blocking for 6 is Majin. One of those Aether Wildfires as well. Let's see, do we have a pummel or anything? I don't think that would...
And here we go with the Astral Etchings.
Wow.
This is the other linchpin in this deck.
3 more +1/+1 counters. So Majin Bey gonna go ahead and take a good chunk of that damage. It was an attack for 7, now it's an attack for 10. Not a pummel, but is still a pump.
Now,
Majin
Sam,
down to 17.
I ask you, live in a world with me where that last card in Tyler's hand is Restless Coalescence. So we swing for 7, turns into 10. That last card is Restless Coalescence. Tyler resolves it after the damage has gone through. And then you have essentially 5 Spectral Shields that you can just pull into the arena at any time at instant speed. So it just makes it so that Majin would have to banish so many more sources of arcane damage to remove any one of these board pieces.
I would be happy to live in that world with you, my friend, because I think we may have just jumped into that reality as the Restless Coalescence hits the board from Tyler Horspool here. He's able to play it from his hand. Going to also potentially activate the Tunic. It's coming from there. 1 resource on the pitch zone. Let's see. He's going to just go ahead and utilize the 1 Spectral Shield and the 1 resource generated from the Find All Spring Tunic. And now he's going to be able to, on Majin's end step, create another Spectral Shield here. Everything's starting to come together for the Wicked Man himself. Another counter on the Tunic. Let's see what he's able to put together.
You know what else I see in that hand, Sam?
What, you got the
other
etchings.
Astral Etchings,
You
baby.
got the etchings.
Mm-hmm. We've also got a lot of other gas. We've got Levels of Enlightenment. Probably not going to be deployed here because that Waning Vengeance is red. There's not going to be another way for Tyler to get a blue pitch into the pitch zone, but that's okay because a blue pitch to fuel this turn is going to be just fine.
Firstly, it's just a Restless Coalescence coming across. So this is going to be Ward 5 with 4 +1/+1 counters. How about an attack for 9 here on the turn?
Indeed, and then we can also use that Astral Etchings with that 1 floating to pump it an additional 3. And also, give us more on-demand Spectral Shields. Why not?
Jeez. Restless Coalescence does so much work when you start to stack the counters up, but it also can just smack you for a lot when the Refractor is a part of the equation.
And this is really cool here because not only does Tyler have 1 Spectral Shield and then 1 that he could ostensibly create off of the Restless Coalescence, but he's also sitting on 1 resource that could be devoted to the Astral Etchings, could be devoted to the Waning Vengeance to protect the rest of this board.
Absolutely. A big Ward 3 could really change the equation here. Blazing Aether gonna go ahead, be banished to Kano here, and a blue Scalding Rain, so there's 2 points of arcane damage. Of course, the Waning Moon, if either of those are played, would come in for 3 points of arcane damage, so that Waning Vengeance deployed at the correct time could really be a game changer here. Also, the Waning Vengeance would create a Spectral Shield upon being blown up. And there's a Prognosticate as well, another point of arcane damage. This might be able, Majin might be able to clear through this big attack for 9.
And because of the context of Tyler's hand, Majin might just need to send, this is exactly what he needs, just small sources of arcane damage over and over again. He might be in trouble if Tyler had another blue in hand, but being an all-red hand, this might be able to clear the board.
Yeah, so Tyler here, if he wished, could remove another Spectral Shield. He could go ahead and remove a counter, create a Spectral Shield. That would allow for those 2 points to be, blown up or saved for Tyler here. But he's just going to use this 1 Spectral Shield and the 1 floating. Now he's going to go ahead and activate the once per turn instant, make another Spectral Shield. That'll save the Prognosticate.
And also bring this attack down to 8.
And then now he has 1 floating. This is an attack for 3, but now he's got a card in hand that he can play the Waning Vengeance. And that's going to go ahead and eat up the 3, create another Spectral Shield. And I think unless there's a card in the arsenal or we want to use some E-Pots here, Majin Bey might have just gotten this turn completely stuffed, and that 8 damage might come across.
And also that Blazing Aether that is sitting at the ready in the Banish Zone is not going to do anything because no arcane damage has been dealt through all of this ward.
Beautiful sequencing here from Mr. Villain, the Tyler staring down at this board with the mean mug of a cold, calculated killer. Let's see if he's able to get this 8 damage across. Taking Majin from 17 down to 8 would be a huge swing in this game. masterfully sequenced through a somewhat tricky turn there with those red cards. That Astral Etchings might have been pretty juicy, but the Waning Vengeance might have just been the exact ticket for Tyler Horspool to look towards putting on just too much pressure for Majin Bay to think about.
Because even if Majin was to use one of his valuable potions and use it for the Waning Moon, which he is, it's just going to pop a Waning Vengeance and put another Spectral Shield onto the board.
Yeah, I think he'd have to pop those energy potions to look for Kano and have to find something that does more than one. That would be the only way here to get over this Spectral Shield that was just created from the Waning Vengeance.
And gosh, he's found so many sources of Arcane off the top. It's so risky to think that he could find one more.
No, and he's just going to ship the turn Blazing Aether with the Metacarpus node. He's going to go ahead and with the Metacarpus node pump it up to 1. Wow.
And he's doing this in response to the Spectral Shield coming into the battlefield. This is actually a really amazing play on Majin Bay's part.
Wow, fascinating from Majin here, deciding the Metacarpus node isn't going to be used for the combo, it's just going to be used to clear the Restless Coalescence. It cannot be allowed to not only stick on board, create more Spectral Shields, but also take Majin down nearly half his life total. Great play from both our players here in the top 8 of the Battle Hardened.
And here's the wild thing, Majin Bay just basically used the entirety of his 4-card hand to save 8 life.
Yeah, that's very true. Save 8 life, but the 8 life that would also stick around and basically an 8-power weapon. Tyler here not going to do anything instant speed on Majin's turn. Really fascinating, honestly, so fun to watch. Back and forth there from our players. Now the onus is back on Tyler. Can you keep running Majin out of some of the threats? We've seen one Aether Wildfire in the pitch, one be committed to blocking on the combat chain. Let's see what Tyler's able to string together here.
Now his board doesn't look super threatening, but that Spectral Shield, he's already got a board. Is he just going to create another Specky? Yes, he is. His board doesn't look super threatening, but remember, because of Reality Refractor, each of those Spectral Shields is representing a swing for 5. That's interesting. Did Tyler... He's taking a second. You think he wanted to resolve that Spectral Manifestations?
Yeah, not sure here. Majin, you see him just counting the deck, seeing where in the stack we are.
So this is for 5. The block is 3. Pass over to Tyler for reactions. This does not have go again. Tyler in the tank as John Zapata, member of the AGE Pro Team, looks on in the back of the player cam. Looks like Tyler's asking for a judge call here. Let's listen in.
After the damage has resolved, can I still target this attack?
No, because if the damage is resolved, the replacement effect has already happened.
Tyler's asking because he wants to resolve that drop in the ocean.
Yeah, and that's how that works. You can do it in resolution step.
Yep. That should be legal in the link step.
No, I'm attacking with the Spectral Shield. Yeah, okay. He's blocking. Oh, okay. After I do damage to him. Yes, okay. I was like, I thought you were playing. Not what I thought. Yeah.
Looks like we've got it cleared up. Much to the relief of Tyler Horspool, or Pony Puddle on Discord. For a man so sinister, you wouldn't think his name on Discord is Pony Puddle.
I know. For such a mean guy, it's hard to imagine that he'd have such a, lovely, lilting and lovely sounding name. But
I always crack when we're doing this facade, Sam. Tyler's such a great guy.
He's the nicest.
Yeah.
He's the sweetest. He's the nicest. But for whatever reason, he has asked. He said, "I want to be the villain."
Gosh, he loves being the heel, doesn't he?
He loves.
It just makes me love him more.
Well, he also shows up. I remember when he showed up with like the cowboy outfit.
Oh, it's amazing.
He showed up like the Inigo Montoya, "You killed my father, prepare to die."
I missed that one.
Yeah,
that would have been my favorite.
He had the the eye patch on, or maybe it was just more of a pirate. I don't know, but. Waiting on the judge to confirm.
Guess we're still deliberating. I really think that this is a legal play, though. And the stakes here are Tyler dealing one more point of damage before playing that drop in the ocean and giving his attack -1. Now, the context of Tyler's hand, what we have left is another Transcend card on top of the drop in the ocean. So that's going to be 2 Chi in hand. And then we've got a Command and Conquer. So it's kind of interesting. I guess Tyler is expecting some arcane damage to come his way. So he probably wants to keep that second Chi that he's going to generate for arcane barrier blocking. If not, he's probably okay just passing with a blue in hand and arsenaling. one of those chi is definitely going to be devoted to creating one more Spectral Shield with a +1 counter on it.
Tyler Horspool still sitting at 29, Majin Bay 17. You can see Majin once again just counting the deck, finding out where he is in the pitch stack.
This is the quarterfinals, Battle Hardened San Diego. This is our first top 8 match. Both players.
It's been an interesting game. I still need to draw a I did draw like one of each of the cards that I wanted, but they summarily got dismissed.
Yeah, Kano's pretty good about that.
It's so fun to watch high-level players, Sam, because
Yeah.
you expect there to be like no love between them, right? Like they're not sharing information. Poker faces are on. In a lot of cases, that's true, but in these silent moments and judge calls, they just can't help but talk about flesh and blood. They love it too much, right?
But
Yep.
You see it on like turns. I went first because I was so scared of you just playing a Spectre and saying go.
Yeah. You're like, well, I better draw a Wounded Bull or it's
This
over.
sucks. Yeah.
I think they're talking about, Majin did also tell me, depending on how much Spectra Tyler is able to resolve, Majin's only packing that one Scour.
I had to pitch a potion. That sucked. I had a couple weird spots, like the one where I had to Metacarpus my blazing. That sucked.
Yeah, the players chatting a bit.
I got stuff happening. We'll see. We'll see if it's enough.
Always nice to hear what's going on in the minds of really solid players. Both these players totally used to, 1, being on stream, and 2, being in the top 8 high-level events.
Yep. Tyler, of course, calling Las Vegas champion from the OG Prism chain.
No damage yet.
Looks like we have gotten our judge call. Damage is resolving, and in the link step, Tyler Horspool is going to play both of his Transcend cards.
Yep.
Now, this is a point where, while this is on the stack, Majin could say, hold that. I'm going to start banishing cards off the top of my deck and see if I can snipe this Spectral Shield.
3 cards that I'm like, I don't really want to draw.
But because damage has already gone through, it's probably not a necessary step for him.
So going to go ahead and shuffle the deck and give that Spectral Shield -1 post damage in the resolution step when both players have priority. So these are going to create a couple chi, one of which could make a Spectral Shield here. But without the action point, we'll have to see what else these cards are going to be able to be used for. Another Spectral Shield, this one with a +1 counter, and an Arsenal keeping a chi in the hand. So if Majin doesn't put enough pressure on, Tyler will be able to make another Spectral Shield with a +1 counter, which of course would come in for quite a bit of damage, though the Aether Spindle here going to threaten all these attacks, or all these Spectral Shields.
And putting Waning Moon on the stack first. It's an interesting play, being very heads up.
Yeah, I
Or
wonder why that is.
face up.
I wonder why that is. You put the Waning Moon on the stack, make Tyler have to think about that. This is going to be 2 damage before the Aether Spindle for 4. But one of these Spectral Shields could shore up the Aether Spindle as well. 2 cards into it, and then the question is, do you have enough protection on your next turn if you are Enigma here to protect whatever Spectral Shield you hope to attack with?
In the tank is Tyler. His
Has-
shoulder looks amazing.
His shoulder, fantastic, broad.
Looks like we've got 3 blues, one of which is already a transformed chi. The
I think
other,
it's 4 blues, unless that's a red.
that's a
moon
red
chakra.
moon chakra, my
gotcha.
man. The vibes are red in this case.
In this case, vibes are red. See Majin, you can just continuing to count the cards, see where he is in the pitch stack. Ward can change the math on a pitch stack turn. The question is, Kano, with given enough time to set up, can do basically anything, deal almost infinite damage.
We saw Majin double check where he was in his stack during the judge call. He just checked it again.
Yeah, you have to imagine if you let your mind wander too much, it might be hard to get back into the Mind Palace.
Does Majin Bay use the Mind Palace?
He said he does, yes, he said he
Ah.
does. As such, utilize it to remember the pitch stack.
For those of you that don't know, the Mind Palace is a memorization strategy, essentially, where you associate the cards in your pitch stack or anything you're trying to remember with images that you can easily recall, things in your house, objects that you know super well. And that supposedly makes it very easy to remember long strings of information. For example, like digits of pi, or in this case, the cards in a 60-card deck.
I think players here chatting with the judges, perhaps.
It's interesting. I don't think they
So that what we do? We
made a judge call either of the players. I wonder if there was a request for stoppage of play from our head judge.
It might be something about the blazing turn with the Metacarpus.
I mean, really wouldn't have. Well, I really wouldn't have blown my Metacarpus nodes to deal 0 damage.
For the.
Really bad.
This is on the Metacarpus and the. Got you. Alrighty. Getting a word from our production team. We're going to come back to the booth for a moment. They're going to go ahead and resolve. We did see some people talking in the chat about the Blazing Aether and the Metacarpus node interaction. Are you able to buff an event that only deals 0 damage? I think the judges are talking about it, so they're going to go ahead and resolve that issue. It's not something that I am. I've never tried to Metacarpus a Blazing for 0 in my time playing Flesh and Blood, so I never had that judge call myself.
Have you ever resolved a Blazing Aether, Sam?
Yeah.
You have?
I've resolved
You
Blazing
been
Aether.
playing some Kano?
I played a little bit of Kano.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I was online, but I did do it. I watched Hayden Dale's fantastic Ultimate Guide to Kano a while back. I built the deck and never brought it to locals because I was too afraid, but I did. I played a little bit of Kano.
That's brave in my mind.
I decided if I wanted to, continue to do the casting and the learning and the playing, like I should understand how the Kano deck works and I should understand how to play it. So
Well, you've inspired me, Sam. I think I'm going to take a page from your book and
Wow.
maybe ask Alexander Vore on the team to give me a Kano camp.
He'll just tell you, it's easy, bro. It's easy. You just play your cards, you blow them up, bro. It's easy.
Listen, Bryce, just draw the blues, banish the reds. You're up bigly.
You're up bigly. Well, let's go ahead and get back into our game. Looks like they're going to go ahead and just give Majin an intellect penalty, given that an intellect penalty 2, given that that was a game rules violation. So that is going to be the penalty here for Majin. That's going to definitely have some kind of effect on the game. We're going to go ahead and give this Command & Conquer go again with the path well traveled, transcend again. It looks like while the camera was away, all those spectral shields were cleared, but another spectral shield with a +1 counter is now going to be created and attacked with thanks to the reality refractor.
And that is double go again from first tenant of Chi Wind in addition to the path well traveled. Not that that matters at all, Sam, but hey, it's worth mentioning.
See the brand new intellect penalty tokens that were created here by some of the judge staff, I believe. Scour just going to go ahead and come across and take care of the spectral shield if tainted by Tyler's play here. And looks like it will go ahead and clear that spectral shield, deal 1 point of arcane damage.
Looks like Tyler not fretting about that 1 arcane damage at all. Concerned much more with the board that he has lost. However, Sam, I see another spectral manifestations in hand.
Another spectral manifestations, and I believe...
Oh, it is. It's the kitty card, Sam.
Yeah, the kitty card indeed, and I think that might be the end of the IP for Majin Bey. He just drew back up to 4, so it looks like it was just maybe an IP2 for the 1 turn, which did allow Tyler to get some damage in with the reality refractor because the CNC had to be blocked. Now here's an E-Strike with Go again, most likely, putting a card to the bottom of the deck.
Some really high-level play from Majin Bey. Unfortunately, it was a high-level misplay.
Indeed. A very obscure ruling interaction, have to imagine.
Mm-hmm. Props to him for, I always say, Sam, I think the best players in this game are curious people, right? Constantly asking themselves, even with cards that they have known for so long, can I get away with this? Is there a way to push the bounds of what I thought this deck
totally.
could do?
Because I would say it's unintuitive to know. It's not intuitive to understand that that's how that interaction works. If the Metacarpus is buffs an attack that deals buffs a card that deals arcane damage, Blazing Aether deals X arcane damage, where X is the arcane damage you've dealt. It's obscure to realize. So from what I understand, the ruling seems to be if you haven't dealt arcane damage, Blazing Aether does not produce the event like I'm dealing arcane damage right now because there was no arcane damage to deal, so Metacarpus node can't work on it. That's obscure, and that's I wouldn't say the most intuitive ruling in the world. So
exactly.
it would feel like something you could utilize Metacarpus node on, but was not the case in this event. So Spectral Shield now going to come in for 6 with the +1 counter.
Reality Refractor putting in work, making all of these Spectral Shields hit more like trucks than, I don't know, Priuses.
4 life is Majin here, but only 1 ward and no floating for Tyler. Find all Spring Tunic on the 1. Maybe time to push the Kano button. We'll see if Majin's able to do it here.
Where is Majin's staff?
Probably just accidentally in the graveyard. I have to
Yeah.
imagine that's not part of the violation penalty. And also, no Waning Moon.
Here's an IP penalty.
Yeah.
I break your staff in half. There's got to be a Harry Potter reference in there somewhere, Sam. So surely Majin just needs to find 2 sources of arcane damage, 1 or greater. Tyler's going to be able to block 1 source of 1 with his Tunic, if he so chooses. If Majin is able to find 1 other on the top, or really just get his staff back out of graveyard and use that. This Specky is not long for this world. In the think tank, nevertheless.
37 minutes and 52 seconds elapsed so far in this untimed top 8 game. Our quarterfinal feature match for you here at the Battle Hardened in San Diego, 6:31 p.m. local time here in sunny San Diego. For life, Majin Bay, Tyler Horspool, 25. 1 Tunic counter on 3. No cards in hand, no floating. Majin Bay has to be thinking, is this the time for me to try to go off and just win this game?
I did not know. That's
Yeah, I don't think you're doing anything nefarious, man.
Players commiserating about the ruling again. No ill will whatsoever. It's just, this is one of those things that you just kind of learn as you play the game. That's one of the things that makes Flesh and Blood so rich, is that there's so many interactions and things that have been on the board in the game state since Arcane Rising, or well, Tyler being the good gentleman that he is, the unvillainous personality, and fetching.
He's like, dude, you're going to want
stuff.
this. He's like, dude, you're going to need this, bro.
Good sportsmanship all around and high-level play here at Battle Hardened San Diego.
Majin Bay really having a think here. You have to imagine it's partially due to Tyler just being a little face up on the turn, unless it's something like a Tunic into Oasis counter. This is just going to be a block for 1 and a block for 3, so it looks like 2 damage coming across and the Wounded Bull, so he is just going to go ahead and block this attack out entirely.
The thought process must have been, can I get away with resolving this last Wounded Bull, taking a couple points of damage? The answer, as far as Majin Bay is concerned, is no.
And now only 1 card in the hand. Let's see what he wants to do with it. Pass priority, is that what he says? Tyler Horspool looking like he is making a motion. Ooh, and there are a couple of those Spectre pieces. Shimmers a silver.
But no instant speed shenanigans, save for probably the Restless Coalescence that must be in Arsenal.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe Tyler thinking that one counter is not enough to get him to fire it off. And Majin moving ever closer to that pitch stack.
Yeah, absolutely. Drew up the 3 cards. Here we go. This is cresting towards the final turns of this game for Tyler here. That's a hand that has some powerful cards, but not a lot of good ways to utilize multiple action points here.
And not a lot of good ways to dodge the multiplicative damage that Kano can be putting out.
Now here's a CNC coming out of the hand. Also, a lot of blues in the hand for Tyler to try to keep himself alive. This is something that Majin has to either give 2 cards to, similarly to that Spectral Shield, but if he wants to just like give 1 card, right, try to stay alive at 1 and do something crazy, the Command and Conquer here has similar damage to the Spectral Shield, but allows Tyler to say, if you try to take any damage, I'm taking that arsenal from you.
There's a card hovering over the pitch for Majin Bay. Could this be the moment that he decides to go for blood? We know he's hit his pitch stack because that's the eye that he pitched on turn 0.
That's the first turn. So we are now at Majin's pit stack. He is going to go ahead and just double check, make sure those 2 cards are where he wants them. Does Tyler have enough prevention to stay alive from 25 life? Only 1 ward on the board. Command and Conquer on the stack. Is this the turn that Majin Bay punches his ticket into the semifinals of this Battle Hardened?
There are significant defenses on Tyler Horspool's side. We've got AB3, but a perfectly pitch stack Kano can punch right through that, Sam. We know he's got a Tome of Aetherwind in the mix, and I know we've seen some power cards in the pitch as well.
I'll leave them, and then I'll let the banish happen. Sure.
Leave them on top. Banish the Blazing. Blazing in the banish zone, ready to be played. Activate Kano again. What's the card on top? There's the Wildfire from that very first turn. What else you got, Majin? Put a card into the pitch zone. Banish. It's the Tome of Findall. That's going to draw you 2 more cards. And, of course, do have the Potion of Deja Vu to get any cards in the pitch zone back on top of the deck. Tyler Horspool, 2 cards in hand. Tunic on 3, but only AB3 in Ward 1.
So amazing to see a pitch stack Kano in action, Sam.
Just going to go ahead and put that back on the table because we might be putting those cards back on top of the deck. Majin Bay here, card in arsenal, card in the hand.
The Mind Palace is humming. It's crackling.
He's currently in the foyer, making his way through the hallway.
He's moving up the grand staircase, Sam.
He is. I can see it. I'm in there with him. He's like, yo, get out, dude. I'm doing something.
I've got work
How did you
to
get
do.
in here?
Sam's like, I don't know.
I'm like, dude, you got any snacks? It's like, I have no snacks, man.
What do you think the fridge is like in the Mind Palace, Sam?
In Majin Bay's Mind Palace, I think there's a bunch of Tylenol and ibuprofen. I've heard he gets headaches. I've heard he gets headaches. I feel him. I feel him there.
Yeah, and Pedialyte for sure.
All right, Majin Bay continuing to having a think. Got 3 non-attack actions in the banished zone ready to be deployed. Tome of Findall, Aether Wildfire, Blazing Aether. A lot of cards with Tyler Horspool's name on it. You can see Chris Ayali in the background of the shot of Tyler. You can see, very far in the back of Majin's shot, you can see Brody Spurlock looking like a bit of a specter from days gone past, but he is back there.
Chris Ayali departing the shot, saying he can't watch. He's too stressed. It's too tense a moment.
Potion of Deja Vu here. Let's go get some more blues back on top of the deck. Want to draw those blues most likely with the
shoulder is
Tome of
down.
Findall.
I'm going to see if I can take a look, Sam.
Just 2 blues and the whatever it is. The
Eye of Ophidia.
Yeah, I think one of them might be the Gaze the Ages.
Yes, it is.
So that will help.
Surely
as well
he
on
wants
this
to
turn.
banish that one. And confirm what he probably already knows in terms of his pitch stack.
So most likely going to be the Eye and the other blue on top.
Looks like Eye is 3rd from the top.
Really?
Yes, it is.
Oh, because we're going to Ragamuffin's Hat first. That will let us draw 1 card, put another card back on top of the deck. That will allow us to draw the Eye of Ophidia with the Tome of Findall. We're going to go ahead and put the Aether Flare.
Which was just placed on top of the deck with Ragamuffins.
Mm-hmm.
Here come the energy potions.
Energy Potion's going to allow.
Just going to crack them both.
First Kano is the Gaze the Ages. There we are. And now it's time for the final floating to go ahead and play the Tome, grab the Eye of Ophidia, and grab another card in the pitch stack.
And now
it's time to think.
And now we are blind. But at any point, if Majin Bay says, I don't quite remember how this Mind Palace was built, he's got the Gaze the Ages at the ready to double check.
Yeah, absolutely. Double check, get another blue in the hand. Also for Majin, if, let's say, Disaster strikes and he is unable to find the kill on this turn, as long as he has 1 card left in the hand, he's not just dead to the CNC. He can put a card in front of it, lose the arsenal, but the Storm Striders might be playing that card in the arsenal at some point anyway.
We currently don't have any other ways to draw cards in Majin's Banish Zone. However, we know that there is a Tome of Aetherwind in this pitch stack, and it's not far from here.
No, not at all. Maybe even the next card drawn after the Tome of Findall. Let's
see if he will show us his shoulder again. Yep, the shoulder is still there, Sam.
Yep, still there. So kind of him to continue to show us.
What a left shoulder it is.
Kano, but first we're going to opt to, thanks to the Eye of Ophidia once again.
Why not double check the Mind Palace? Mind Palace is great, but let's make sure the supports are set up right, Sam. Let's make sure that the Mind Engineers did their work properly. Got permits.
Let's see, we're going 1 on top, 1 on bottom here for Majin, so making a couple changes. There's the Tome to the Kano activation.
Adding more and more resources onto this turn.
You look at this, you say, what if there was a Tunic on 3 to pay for that Tome of Findall? But he did want to be exactly at 4 on that last turn. Didn't want to even just take the 1 point of damage because now, again, maybe it's just if he was able to block with 3 block, he would still be alive on the turn.
We have to ask ourselves here.
We got to this point.
You know what?
Going to go ahead and draw 2 cards with the Tome of Findall.
Feeling pretty confident that these 2 cards are blues. How'd we do, Majin? I think I see an Aether Dart, which must be in the blue.
Yep. Aether Dart for sure. I think in a Gaze.
Oh, Gaze the Ages. That's A-okay.
Have a Gaze in the Banish Zone as well. That opts and basically draws a card, puts a blue into the hand. Tyler Horspool just sitting back.
Sorry, you have to sit here and deal with this.
It's okay. I'll bring a coloring book next time, though.
You're right.
Tyler's saying he's going to bring a coloring book, further adding to the legend of his villainy.
Yes.
Only the most dastardly of individuals have coloring books at a
Indeed
Flesh
so.
matchup.
I believe the villain in Zorro is famous for making doodles.
While we're here, might as well take the opportunity to say thank you to our wonderful sponsors over at fabrec.gg. If you're curious how to build a Kano deck or any wizard deck or any Enigma deck once Rosetta drops, you're going to want to check out the deck list and deck building resources over at fabrec.gg. The best minds in Flesh and Blood, the best analytics in Flesh and Blood. Go ahead and check out their website for those resources. There's a Tome of Aether Wind. We are fully in the pitch stack. This is looking like it might start to get pretty ugly for Tyler here. Tome of Aetherwind going to draw 2 more cards. Respond with the Gaze the Ages. Let's go ahead and double check. 2 cards on top, and that Gaze is headed back to the hand here. And then 2
fuel
cards
the rest
again
of
drawn.
this disgusting pitch stack, Sam.
Yep.
So far, we only are seeing 5 cards in the pitch zone of Majin, but you can go ahead and tack on 3 more for the ones that came back to the top
Yeah,
from that,
absolutely.
that Potion of Deja Vu. So we are currently at 8 cards pitched for Majin Bay on this turn. Gonna add 2 more to the hand. We've got another Tome of Aetherwind.
2 cards.
This is a lot of fancy footwork, Sam, but ultimately the only thing that Majin is doing is just adding more and more resources to his pool, right? It's just get me more blues to fuel all of the stuff that I've already banished.
Yep. And a Tome of Aetherwind in the Banish Zone as well will continue to help those prospects. Seen a bunch of tomes already resolved.
We are out of ways to opt. So Majin is 100% dependent on this Mind Palace that he has built and whether or not he remembers how it was built.
I didn't know where we were at. I was like,
What do you think Tyler would be drawing right now if he did have a coloring book?
Probably just an evil plan to rob the bank and you know, stick up old ladies at the supermarket.
I think he would be drawing himself riding a pony, standing in a puddle.
Standing in a puddle.
It'd be a very oblong, kind of Picasso-in, maybe like 5-year-old rendition of a pony.
Oh, so you doubt his artistic ability?
No, certainly not. I just think that's the way he would choose to do it.
I see. Majin reordering the Banish Zone here, figuring out what he's going to play first.
Oh, right, as I said, we're out of ops. There is an Aether Spindle sitting at the ready.
Indeed.
In the Banish Zone. Majin ostensibly going to be able to look at more cards on the top of his deck. Now, things aren't over for Tyler Horspool here. He's still got 2 blues that Majin Bay has to punch through. Still 1 floating. AB3 is nothing to shake your hat at. It is, however, going to stop a little bit of this really intense multiplicative damage on Aether Wildfire.
Tunic, activating in response to the Aether Wildfire. Make sure Majin doesn't want to do any response to the Tunic activation. Back into the tank goes Majin as we have to decide if we are the Kano player. Exactly when we...
Looks like resolution is good.
2 resources now in the pitch zone. Does Tyler have any Oasis Respite type of effects?
Unfortunately not. We know that it's just another Shimmers of Silver and then another non-Moon Chakra, basically, in his hand.
So that Aether Wildfire, though, completely stuffed up. AB3 plus Ward 1, so now Majin has to go find the second one that is pretty close in this pitch stack. Here's the Aether Flare now. That's probably going to buff up the Aether Spindle or the Aether Wildfire coming up later. Here's another 3 arcane damage that Tyler has to think about.
So that Aether Spindle is going to cost 2. We've still got the Tome of Aetherwind to fuel more resources on this turn, but Majin's got to be thinking, what if my Mind Palace is incorrect and I draw some reds? So 2 is going to get him his Aether Spindle and his Blazing Aether for free. He needs 1 card that's going to be devoted to Stormstriders and probably whatever else he fires off with the Stormstriders. I would imagine there's an Aether Wildfire in the arsenal sitting at the ready. Either that or another Blazing Aether.
Yeah, it has to be something like that. Now, this is pretty face up from Tyler here. Stormstrider is going to be the activation. Put a blue card into the pitch. There is the second Aether Wildfire. This one is going to be only able to be AB2'd by Tyler with only 2 floating. And then the question is, what are the plays for there from Majin?
We have a Restless Coalescence sitting. Oh, I'm sorry. It was the Moon Chakra.
Moon Chakra is going to prevent so much damage here. What an incredible play from Tyler. Not the Oasis Respite, but that's going to prevent 3 of the damage. All Majin can do is put the head back. However, Moon Chakra does say the next time you would be dealt damage. So Waning Moon could come in and deal 3 damage to take care of the Moon Chakra here. But a big play from Tyler.
Absolutely. I thought for sure that was the Restless Coalescence.
Moon Chakra here, so important. But the Waning Moon might have something to say about it. But then if you use the Waning Moon, you're going to have to find more resources. Tome of Aetherwind might be the response here to find some more cards for Majin.
And it's not all over for Majin. Majin could go ahead and deploy the Tome of Aetherwind, get some blocking cards in his hand.
Oh, certainly not. I mean, and I...
This is still on
It's,
set, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think there's plenty of ways to get around this. I think you're absolutely right.
Although one of them is a no block.
Or this.
Yeah, I think Majin is, he's going to go ahead and throw the Waning Moon in for the 3 damage prevention.
Goodbye, Moon Chakra. Tyler, however, still has 2 resources at the ready to defend this Aether Wildfire.
So that will take care of the 3 from the Waning Moon. Now 2 into the Aether Wildfire, so 2 damage coming across. Tyler down to 23, and that might be enough, folks. Because now all is set up for Majin to absolutely go crazy. Here is the Aether Spindle. This one with the base power 4 is going to be coming in for 6. And with another card in hand for Majin, and 1 floating, most cards off the top of the deck would also come in for more damage. 6 damage coming across.
He's going to get his pick of the litter.
He's going to be able to grab any card he wants here.
Let's see if he'll show us.
Here's your cards. You mooned, and then you did this.
Are we getting some clarification from the judge?
You spent it on this, though.
Yeah, so I went Stormstriders, Wildfire. Do we have like a check back or something?
Yeah.
Can we check the...
No, they're looking to check. I'm pretty...
Very important.
Yeah.
I think Tyler's...
They're checking pitch, but I'm...
I did my resources right on the
Yeah.
spindle.
Yeah, they're asking about the resource utilization on the turn. I do remember Majin pitching a card and
The Wildfire and the spindle.
a big blue when he played the Wildfire. I'm not sure how the judge ruling works because they're going to see if they're going to go do the playback. I'm not, or I don't know if judges can even do that, right, on a stream game.
Exactly, yeah. It's not like the NFL, folks. There's not like judge protocol for
Yeah.
reeling back time and taking a look at our stream or anything like that. Majin having to just take a step away from the table real quick. Got to clear his head,
Yeah.
but keep the Mind Palace built.
In my head, I remember from this turn, in my head, I remember Majin pitching the card, and I was like, okay, that's paying, and then he has
As
the
do
2
I.
floating. So
As do I.
I think he had 1 floating after he did the Stormstriders. So then,
In I think I know what it is, Sam. The reason being is he popped 2 E-Pots at one point for a Kano activation. I think that's where that 1 floating has been sitting this entire time because 1 blue is going to evenly pay for the Stormstriders plus the Wildfire.
yeah.
And I don't think we've had any other kind of imperfect blue.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure it's all
Pitches.
correct.
And it was this card that you did. The Scalding Ring?
Yeah.
Okay.
So 6 here.
Yeah.
Okay. Looks like we're all cleared up. Majin proceeding. He's going to deal 6, get his pick of the litter of whatever he wants to send after this.
Yeah, with a blue in the hand here, we're going to be able to pretty much
Could
grab
be a
any card.
lesson.
I think the writing is on the wall, though. Any arcane damage will be huge. The Blazing Aether that comes in for free. Banish the Lesson in Lava off the top. This Lesson in Lava is going to be for probably, 5? Yep, 5 damage as well. And then 5 plus 6 plus 2 plus the Blazing. That should be enough. Majin Bey, I think, is going to go ahead and take care of this game over Tyler Horspool.
Yeah, that's the point. And so this is coming in.
This is 13, 15.
15 plus 5, that's enough.
That's going to be it.
That's going to be the game.
Either
Majin
with
Bey
the
with the
Bravo
pitch
or-
stack
yeah,
takes it
My
over
scour was
Tyler
too far
Horspool
down for it to
through the intellect penalty. Not necessary to go ahead and make it challenging for Majin Bey. He moves on into the semifinals.
Congratulations to Majin. That was quite a game, Sam.
Yeah.
That was a lot of heady play. It was really back and forth until Majin knew, I've made it back to my pitch stack.
Yep.
And what a great marker to have the Eye of Ophidia pitched turn 0. There's no question about when you've reached your pitch stack in that case.
Yeah, no, he set that all up rather nicely, even on that very first turn, right? Set up the pitch stack, and that was what he needed to go ahead and close that game out. Through some pretty nasty turns there from Tyler. He was able to throw some big attacks, but Majin, the head of the Wizard Council, sits unchallenged, right? That dude is known for his Kano play, and he put it on display for us all here in the booth and at home, and he moves on to the semifinal of the Battle Hardened.
Not only did he set up the perfect pitch stack and fight through a lot of damage coming his way and a lot of ward board that he had to clear along the way, but he also left himself with enough leeway to handle that sneaky moon chakra that Tyler was able to slip into the arsenal.
Yeah. What a game. Thank you for hanging with us. We're going to go ahead and take a quick 5-minute break before we move on into the semifinals. We find out exactly who is going to be duking it out in those final 4 slots before the all-important champions round of the Battle Hardened here in San Diego. So much is on the line. Please stay with us, and we'll see you in a moment.